Hi Virgo, and welcome to your June 2019 general read. I'm Jade with Yes, Yes, Yes. If you're new to the channel, welcome, and if you've been here before, welcome back. I'm a little late getting these out because I'm just a little busy these first couple of weeks of June, so I'm doing my best, and I apologize for these being just a little bit behind. But I'll go ahead and explain how we do this. These three cards are from the general read, the 2019. There's a link to that in the description box below, as well as to my website, yesYesYes.life. If you're interested in a personal read, we go into way more depth into any of the readings. There's lots of readings I offer, and I love working with you. For those of you guys who've already reached out, I'm really enjoying my time spending working with you and kind of unpacking some of these things that come up in the cards. Now, we're also going to do a past, present, future spread with the Rider-Waite after we talk about these generals. And again, this is general for Sun, Moon, and Rising Virgos. Take what works for you, and if it's not working, just let it go. Because again, these are so general. I'm not working with you directly, so there are messages here. They just may be for you as well as for your Virgo brethren and sisters, okay? So let's start with the Mystical Shaman Oracle. Your overall this year is the Circle card, and this is the card of balance between the elements. I'm feeling that, and even balance between your health, your spirituality, your the earthly nature, like financial health as well, and in your love life, really working on finding a balance where it's even and equal all around, all of the energies. You're giving out as much as you're receiving. It's starting kind of the spin of this circle. This wheel itself is moving because you're being fed as well as feeding others and yourself too. So that's your overall energy, and it's also it's number 8, which gives me that more clarity about it just being in a cycle, continuance. Now, specifically for this month in the Line Strider deck, you have the 4 of Pentacles. So there's an energy of a holding on, holding back. In this deck, it's not the pentacles that she's holding on to, but it's literally like riches. I think she's got some jewelry in her hands. So she's holding on to a bunch of things, not wanting to let them go, but also holding on to them as a protection, okay? So if you are feeling as if you're getting into scarcity mode, right? Like there's not enough money, you might have to think about, there's maybe not enough food, like you have to actually kind of ration yourself, go on a budget. I'm feeling like you're just cutting back and trimming out the fat in some ways. You're feeling a little constricted, feeling a little restricted. Now, here's the other thing, is that this is clarified by the Storks card in the Lenormand deck. And the Stork card is a card of new beginnings. This is, it's the storks that bring the babies, right? This also can mean it's a 9-month cycle. So what we could be talking about is if you're already in this energy, you might have been in this energy for 9 to 10 months already, and now we have a new beginning coming. The other thing is that if you are in or just starting to feel this energy now, be aware that it could settle in, and in 9 months there could be a change for you. Maybe it's a positive change. Usually this card brings positivity. There's a flash of sunlight here. So I always look at it as a positive card and a card of timing. But we'll see. More importantly, from the overall, I need to stack these a little differently. From the overall, from the Rider-Waite, we'll see how those energies play out. Okay, so Virgo, how are you? How are you doing? Everything has been pre-shuffled, by the way. I hope you're enjoying yourself, having a good summertime if you're here in the Northern Hemisphere, and maybe wintertime is settling in if you're in the Southern Hemisphere. I'm looking for your past energies. This could be deep past, it could be recent past, but past energies for Virgo. And I had some jumpers coming out when I was doing the pre-shuffle. Yep, so we had 2 flop out. I need 1 more, please, Spirit. 1 more for Virgo in the past, please. 1 more. That was user error. User error. It just kind of, my hand flops. How about that? All right. Okay. There we are. Okay, so in the recent past, we have the 2 of Wands in the upright. There was some type of long-term building project maybe in a partnership, maybe in a work partnership, but it was something that you were passionate about, excited about. There was action taken forward. See the world in his hand. So there was some action that was taken to move forward in a project in the past. The Six of Swords came out in the reverse. This is a card of movement forward and leaving something behind. And usually because it's, it's leaving something behind, again, out of protection or because of some type of communication blockages. With it being in the reverse, there is some stagnancy. So there might have needed to have been some movement in the past, some change perhaps from this initial planning that didn't quite happen. Maybe there was like a sidestep that you wanted to take or that needed to be taken, or maybe the opportunity arose and it just wasn't taken. The other thing is this planning could have opened up an opportunity for you to actually physically move, and you decided, no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna physically move myself. I can make this thing happen where I am. Then we have this finality card of the death finality card. Dun, dun, dun. The final card of the past is the death card, which is Scorpio energy. So this is deep transformation here. This is an ending, okay? Now, and we say it's transformation because endings lead to beginnings. It's the ending of one thing and the beginning of the next cycle. So what it's looking like, just generally speaking, is that there was a project, something that had begun in the past. You wanted to take root and make it be something that grew, right? Could have been a relationship, could have been a business partnership, or even just a new project. But there was some opportunity for change or movement of the project, but instead stagnancy settled in. Perhaps it was, you started that project without quite getting the foundation laid out, and so there's a little bit of shuffle, and so the project ended, the partnership ended, the relationship ended. Perhaps there was a Scorpio involved, okay? So this is, again, very general. Let's see what's going on for the present energies here for Virgo. And then in that death card, there's movement towards transformation. So it's interesting that you weren't going to move away to build the project, but you knew that transformation had to come in. It had to transform on its own. The death card kind of is showing itself in a similar way as the Tower, but I feel like it's kinder and gentler for you, okay? All right, one more card for the present for Virgo, please. I'm really going for the jumpers. Okay. So we have Four of Cups energy, 2 4s on the table. This one came out in the reverse. So this is, when it's upright, a feeling of discontent, maybe over celebration, like, I'm done with this. I'm done with all the same type of people who are barking up my tree. I'm sick of the same projects just failing. So just not happy with what has been offered, what has been going on in life. Again, this is the prompting that there is more, but you're just not having it, just not seeing it right now. Now, I'm talking about that in the upright. When it's in the reverse, it's actually looking for the next thing. And I like that you've got I said 2 4s. Why did I say 2 4s? You need to have another 4 on the table, apparently. Oh, this is why. Sorry. The 4 of the Pentacles was your overall. That's why I was saying 2 4s on the table. So with it being in the reverse, this is, the desire to start something fresh, realizing what is here is not working. And this could be very specific to this partnership or this work related, or this, whatever this 2 of Wands energy is connecting to, if it was work or a partnership. Realizing that you want something more, that it's not going to be satisfying as is. Your next card is, the 9 of Wands, which came out in the reverse as well. I look at this card as being, the card of vulnerability. And sometimes it's positive and sometimes it's like too much, too far open. With it being closed off in the reverse, that's just showing that there's still a need for protection. You are protecting yourself, and it might have something to do directly with this stagnancy or this desire to move on, this thing that's trying to move on. Maybe this is somebody outside of you trying to move away from this partnership. And You're realizing, okay, I gotta keep my boundaries up, because even though I thought this was a trusting situation, obviously it's changing. Obviously it's different, and I have to keep myself protected. Even though you want the change to occur, you want something to change. You're in protection mode, and now we bring in the healing, the Temperance card. This is Sagittarian energy, big, expansive energy from above, from below, from all around. This is glowing, lovely, healing light, and it's also finding that balance. And we talked about that balance. This is your overall energy for the year, is really finding balance in all of the aspects of life, okay? In your health, in your work, in your relationship, in your spirituality. So you're realizing, look, the death is, Temperance is right underneath the Death card. So there's a balance in transformation, okay? And these are huge changes that are coming up towards you in the end here. And this is their finalization of your present moment, okay? So something you thought might work out, there's some shiftiness, perhaps the other person's wanting to move on. There might have been a situation where you were offered a job or a position that's further away from where you are, and it was a negated offer. You said no, your person said no, so there was some stagnancy. Because things they didn't start the way that, they started in a good way with hopes and dreams, but because there was a change, right now you're in protection mode. You're hoping for something better, because what's working right now, what's happening right now is not working. So you're really hoping for something better. And don't worry, I'm gonna get some clarifiers on all of this too. Let's go for future. What's happening for future for Virgo? I feel the need to clear some. There we go. Future for Virgo. Wow. Floppy, floppy, flop. Okay, so we'll go with the 6 cards. Okay, we've got 8 of Pentacles upright, 8 of Cups in the reverse, 8 of Swords in the reverse. Okay, so now we have 3 8s, High Priestess upright. We've got the 3 of Swords in the reverse and the Knight of Wands finishing it out. All right, so the working of heart. Look, it's interesting because you've got 2 cards of movement that are in the reverse, this 8 of Cups, okay? So you're working hard, not wanting to quite leave it behind, but you do want to get unstuck in your mind, right? You want to leave, you want to kind of undo all of these binds. I feel like, if this is a business partnership, it just feels like it was something where you might have had grand ideas and there just wasn't the ability to put into place bringing them forward. So you still have these grand ideas, you were so excited about them, but you couldn't quite bring them into reality, maybe because you haven't met the right people yet, maybe because the partnership that you were in also was quite idealistic and couldn't bring it in to fruition as well. Yes, working hard, this is counting your money, getting in there, also being seen for working hard. I feel like you're really working against yourself at this point, or this is, again, near future. So if you feel like you can fix this, that's not the way to go, Virgo. So whatever this situation is, and we'll get some clarification, if you're trying to work on it to fix it so that you can get out of stagnancy, so that you don't feel like you're bound and stuck up, that everything's kind of messed up, I'm not sure if that's the way to go, okay? Now, this is one feeling of the card. The next feelings here, I would say, the High Priestess is here, using your intuition, really pulling back, drawing more within yourself, rather than trying to do and to solve it with your hands and your body. Pull back and connect in a spiritual way back to the passion and the inspiration of the initial idea. Pull back to that, because that will give you the next direction to go in, okay? So it's like everything starts at point A, and you started at point A and you thought the next step was point B. But that point B just kind of fell apart. Like you couldn't quite get there because there was a bunch of, things in between A and B. So now you're in this place of like, not feeling good, not feeling as if you've accomplished anything. Maybe you felt like you've wasted time. And this could be in relationship, again, in work, in some kind of creative project, any of those things. Now you're being shown that the harder it is you try to get to point B, the more that point B is going to become something that runs away from you or that becomes more elusive. And what really is that you got to go back to point A and you have to look for a different road, okay? It's Z. Go for the Z road or whatever it is, okay? Because that is what's going to release any kind of grief, any kind of loss that you're feeling, okay? Any kind of second guessing that you've been having of yourself. Remember, this is like, you're really questioning your ability to bring things forward. You might have been really good, a decade ago at creating whatever you wanted in your life, and now things are just a little bit more difficult to manifest. I said a decade. I don't know why. I'm not even seeing a 10 on the table, but the decade came up, so I just said it. And normally we go through processes like every 9 years, so that could be it. So I'm feeling that, if you pull back, start over at point A, but look for a different way of doing things. And if this is relationship, maybe you got to set up your relationship in a different way. Maybe, if it's a long distance relationship, it's not going to work. You got to, actually move closer together. If it's a relationship where one person needs to move, the other person might need to move too. You see what I'm saying? Or work it out in some way. Now, if you pull back, start all over at point A, then look, you've got this energy you can take on, okay? This Knight of Wands energy is exactly what will get you back to this Two of Wands, okay? Same suit, passion, drive, action, all of those things. Now, this could be someone else's energy and not yours, but because I'm talking about this whole process being a very internal Virgo process, this could be very well your energy charging forward in the new direction, okay? In the new direction of whatever this whole situation is that we're talking about. And remember, because it's general, I have to keep it general. I can't ask you specifically, what are we talking about here? Because that would have been my first question. But anyway, what I'm seeing is that a lot of it has to do with passion, action, oriented things, making things happen in the world. And passion does sometimes involve relationships. So that's why I'm allowing for all of these things. But I feel like you just gotta hit a redo, go back, just backtrack a bit, and that's okay if we need to go back and start over in a new direction. And it may feel like you've lost time. It may feel like you've lost even some passion or some excitement about the project because it's different than what you thought it was initially. The relationship might not be as exciting as you thought it was initially. But I feel like that is, this is what the cards are at least saying, is that if you go back and look at it differently, go for it, go forward differently, look at that. There will be the promise of what it was supposed to be for you, okay? If it's, again, all of the riches, all of the, you're holding on this stagnant, you're holding on to perhaps the idea, but you're also holding on, maybe you've invested a lot financially into this initial project and you're taking a big hit, okay? So it's just, the cards are just saying, pull back, and then try it in a different way. And you may take a hit initially, but the way that things are showing up, it seems like it may actually work out for your betterment in the long term, okay? Because things are gonna start moving with this Knight of Wands. Things are gonna start moving a lot faster, very quickly, okay? Now I got some clarifications here. In the past, we were, all of these cards are really binding you. They're really dragging you down. This Anchor card is weighty. It keeps you from flowing, okay? So, and sometimes it's okay to be grounded. Sometimes it's fine to anchor yourself in. This is also long-term. So this could be deep past stuff that you've been working towards, working around, working through for a while. But whatever it is, and this could be a part of your story now. So a part of your story could be, you might tell people, I'm that person who starts a project and just can't finish it because everything always falls, through my fingers. It's not as if I don't have a great work ethic, I have bad luck, right? So it might have even become part of your story, okay? Just be aware of that. Right now, you're going through this healing phase, and this could also mean that you're putting down roots in a new and more healthy way for yourself. I like that. I think that's really about that Temperance card. This is a card of legacy and longevity, so I'm going to urge you to consider what it is that you're doing and building. You want to build it for the long term. So if it's just not working, if it's like you're hitting your head against the wall, if the relationship is really frustrating, you have to look at it from a different perspective in order to make it sink into the ground, taking roots in the long term. Okay, look, the ring here is a commitment card, and again, another long-term card. So you've got some commitment that you're willing to make, commitment to working hard, commitment to not walking away from this. But there is a need to look at the contracts, okay? Look at the words that have been, and you know, this can be emails, you know, light conversation with others. But I feel like if we're talking about marriage, if we're talking about a partnership that's in writing, look at those contracts, and really you might need to rework them. Okay, if it's a marriage contract, you know, this is just telling you to have the conversations together. I don't think you need to actually physically get in and rewrite your marriage vows or anything like that. I'm just talking, this is about like the contract of marriage, contract between two people. And it doesn't have to be marriage, even though that ring is there, it's just a contract in general. Now, the being able to come out of and release any kind of worry and anxiety, pain, loss, and this, again, we could be talking about financial loss. Any of that, coming out of that, you're gonna have to rely on being in your community, okay? And what I mean by that is, even though you may want to sulk, stay home, be your hermit self, don't do that. Go out, enjoy the day, talk about what's going on, because I think someone in your community is gonna help shift things for you so you can get into this energy, or someone in your community is this person who can help you shift. Remember, we were talking about there's something that was missing to get you from point A to point B. And perhaps there was a partnership where that person also couldn't get you to point B. You might meet someone in public who can get you to that next step. And again, it doesn't have to be a love relationship. I'm not talking about, you know, making yourself in a throuple or, you know, a 4-person polyamorous. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about reestablishing this so that everybody feels good, it works out, and specifically it's working out for you, Virgo, because this is your reading and this is your issue. If there's cross watchers out there, again, hear what I'm trying to say, which is just that something needs to change and be restructured. That's all right? So there is some work, but there's a new beginning promised for you here, a new beginning promised for you, Virgo. Let me know what you feel about this in the comments section. Hit that thumbs up button. It helps me out so much. And for now, I'll send you all my love. I'll see you guys next time.